So I said I'd pop back this afternoon because there's so much going on ahead of Keegan Bradley's US Ryder Cup picks tomorrow. So much speculation, left, right, everywhere you look in the golf circles. I'm getting really excited about it. I can't wait to see what he does. I think he's going to pick himself. We're going to talk about that in a moment because there has been a report this afternoon saying that he is going to pick himself. I'm not surprised by that at all, and I would well believe it because I think he's just playing too good at the moment not to pick himself. And we talked about Sam Burns last night. The other report came out that Sam Burns had potentially received a phone call. Nuclear Golf released that news last night. So we're going to talk a little bit about someone else who I believe is going to be picked, and no one has really been talking about this guy. He's playing here in Europe now, ahead of the Ryder Cup next week. And I think, when we talk about it, you're going to get sort of an inkling into why I'm going along these lines, because I think, when we look at the certain guys he's going to pick in this team, there's going to be guys you're not going to expect. He's even said that. He said that last night, if I can just pull this up here, when he's speaking with Todd Lewis from the Golf Channel, that there is going to be some surprises, and he is going to spring some surprises. Like, look at this here. So he, speaking with Todd Lewis, he said there is probably going to be a few guys that think they're going to be on the team that aren't going to be. He added, the phone calls will be awful. I'm sure they were. We all saw what happened on the Netflix series when he had to get that phone call from Zach Johnson. And I think, I don't know if Keegan is particularly like this. I'm sure he looks back on that now, and sort of there's a couple of bits in that when the boys club are sitting around at the table, and it's pretty obvious they're all getting picked. And I think he's going to be pretty, I'm sure that didn't go down too well with him. When he looks back on that, some of the snidey sort of comments, and it was a little bit condescending, possibly from Zach Johnson as well. The phone call, it didn't sound very genuine. So yeah, let's see what he does with that. I'm pretty certain he's going to pick himself this week. I think he's too good not to. There was talk last night that Phil Mickelson's going to come in as co-captaincy. You see it there. That was doing the rounds. And also, we're going to talk about that man in a moment's time, if you see it there. But that report is interesting. That was doing the rounds this afternoon. I'm just going to pull that up now as well, that he was potentially, that he is going to pick himself. That report came out from The Guardian this afternoon. Keegan Bradley expects to pick himself for Ryder Cup after Donald Trump support. Obviously, Donald is a massive golf fan, and he tweeted out in Truth Social that he wanted Keegan to play. And Keegan said all along, listen, if Keegan was that against not playing and didn't want to be in the Ryder Cup as a playing role, he would have confirmed this a long time ago. He's been humming and hawing about it all season. And I think when you underline and you see what he did last weekend on that third round was absolutely phenomenal. I think it was 7 under round, hitting putts from left and right, flushing the golf ball, hitting within 7-8 feet of the pin, chipping out. It was an unbelievable round of golf from Keegan Bradley, one he described as the best of his season. So if he's talking like that, and he said all along, all year, I want guys that are at the top of their game in the team. I need to be at the top of my game to be in the team, and he certainly is at the top of his game. So he would have denied this a long, long time ago. I don't really sort of get the opposition possibly from a lot of Team Europe. Not the opposition, they're just saying it's not possible. Rory McIlroy said it, one or two. Justin Rose is probably the most open about it, saying he could possibly do it. So I think he is going to do it, and I think they do make too much of a big deal about this. If you have a good co-captaincy around you and you've relayed before you go out what you want to do at certain stages, here now, the 4-ball, the foursomes, whatever, he'll have a clear structure and plan, and guys he obviously trusts in place, like Kevin Kistner. Obviously, you mentioned there's talk of Phil possibly coming in. He's a load of guys around him that he will have had lengthy conversations with to have a contingency plan in case this was his feeling. And I'm sure they've known about this all along. It could be a tactic as well. That's something that a lot of people haven't spoken about, that this could actually be a tactic from Keegan Bradley and Team USA to just maybe, put Europe off, because when Europe go over here, man, like the European team is pretty much set, like bar maybe one place. I think Harry Hall possibly, I still think, might have a little sniff of getting in ahead of Matt Fitzpatrick or Sepp Straka because of the poor form Sepp has shown at the rear of the season. But we'll talk about that closer to next Monday. But in terms of what Keegan has done, let him do what he wants. Let him play. I think it'd be great with him, and it'd be a better tournament with it. And it adds an extra dimension, a more exciting, more intrigue to the tournament. And with the fans there that we're going to see in New York as well, it's going to be off the charts. So I think it's a great call. If this report, obviously in the Telegraph, is accurate, so that means Keegan Bradley and Sam Burns are the two. Sorry, pardon me. I'm actually sick at the moment. I've flu or something. My glands are all swollen. That's why I'm wearing my tracksuit top again. So apologies for that. But yeah, I think if these two guys are in, we're going to have. Keegan's going to be very tactical about what he does with his selections. Oh, and look what's just fallen down there. My flag. That's great, isn't it? So I think he'd be very tactical. My US Open flag actually signed by Graham McDowell from 2010 when he won it. At Pebble Beach. I'll leave it. I'll pick it up in a few moments. But yeah, I want to talk about someone here, and you're going to see him. You're going to know him. And no one is actually speaking about this in the world of golf. Not that I've seen. It is Brooks Koepka, the 2019 US PGA champion. And where was that US PGA championship on? He's obviously won 3 of them. Where was that on? Bethpage Black. What is Brooks Koepka playing in next week? He's playing in Ireland, and he's playing in the Irish Open. Why does Brooks Koepka need to come over? And he very, very rarely plays DP World Tour events. He doesn't need world ranking points. He's exempt, obviously, after his US PGA win in 2023 for another 5 years for major tournaments. Doesn't particularly need the world ranking points. So I'm at a bit of a loss here to why Brooks Koepka would be playing the Irish Open. He had chances to play it when he used to play on the DP World Tour, the European Tour here a number of years ago, before he won all his majors. 5-time major winner. Probably one of the most underappreciated guys in the world of golf, in my opinion. I don't think he's ever got the credit for the massive haul that he's got in such a short space of time. Remember, he won 5 majors in the time Rory McIlroy went from winning his 4th and 5th. So it's incredible. He's releasing a new brand of shoes. I know it's a little bit different, but he's all over his Instagram this week. But his new shoes, it's like a family thing for his son. And I just think, right, if you look at what Keegan will be thinking, a guy who can handle the big occasion, the big atmosphere. And I know he hasn't played well. Like, listen, we're all not stupid. Like, he hasn't done well. Hasn't played well even in Live Golf, pulled out earlier on in the season. Did actually start the season okay, to be fair, but we look at his results in majors, like, they haven't been great. But a lot of people are forgetting one here. He finished tied 12th at the US Open this year. What course was that? An exceptionally tough course, one of the toughest challenges in all of golf, at Oakmont. Bethpage Black is a notoriously tough golf course that he has won on before. He's playing the Irish Open. You look here. We'll even have a look. He's played the Alfred Dunhill in 2024 last year. He played in Japan, I think. There we go. The Dunlop Phoenix Open. That was in 2023. Every other event he's played has been a major because he doesn't need to. Why would Brooks be coming over to Ireland? Brooks is coming over to Ireland, I think, personally. His caddy actually is Irish. Ricky Elliott. He's from Portrush. Good friends with Graham McDowell. He grew up with Graham McDowell. He's Brooks' caddy. I don't know, maybe there's a family something thing going on, but I find it very strange that Brooks is going to play in the Irish Open if he's not going to Bethpage back for the Ryder Cup. I think this conversation has been had with Brooks. I'm actually pretty convinced of it. I think there's a lot of stuff adding up. The fact, as I mentioned there, he's won at Bethpage before in 2019. He had a really good, solid US Open this year, finishing tied 12th. You can write off Brooks, but he keeps coming back. I saw this shit earlier on in the year, which got really pissed off about people giving out about Scotty, and it's sort of when Scotty came back from the injury, he'd never win it. Like, absolute nonsense. Brooks has had some very serious knee injuries. I think that's why he went to Live. I think he was pretty open about that. Couldn't turn down the money. Thought his career might be coming to an end. He's spoken openly about that, and having that reconstruction on his knee. Possibly he's looking at a way back into the PGA Tour. That's been speculated. I don't know about that, but I just think Keegan Bradley's looking at that going, I think Brooks is a guy for a big occasion, especially on a course he's won on before. So I'm going to add to my selections Brooks Koepka. So I think now, if we're to believe the two reports that have come out in the last 2 days, we've had Sam Burns and obviously Keegan today that are going to play in the Ryder Cup. I think you can add Brooks to that. And people might laugh at me, I don't care, but we'll see. It'll all be revealed tomorrow. I just think it's very, very strange that he's playing in the Irish Open next week. It doesn't make much sense. He's exempt, as I said, till 2028 with the majors after winning the US PGA in 2023. I reckon he's in. That's my feelings on it. I think I've given some good enough reasons there, but that's my feeling on what's going to happen tomorrow at Keegan's pick. So I'm just going to quickly now, in 1 second, run through who else I think is going to be in the team. I am going to go with Justin Thomas. You know, I know he is part of that the clique that we saw in the Netflix series, but I think he is going to be the one in the team. You know, you can't leave out Justin. He's played solid this season without really setting the world on fire. Much better than he's done in the previous 2 seasons. We saw him coming back last year. He knocked on the door this year, finally got over the line again at Harbour Town, I think it was. We had him back here as well. So yeah, Justin's definitely going to be in. I think Colin Morikawa is the casualty here. Just too inconsistent for me all season. I think he just been all over the place. Let's factor in, right? People don't often talk about this. 2 of his majors were won, I think, in COVID times, reduced capacity crowds. Was there any crowd even at Harding Park when he won the Open at a reduced crowd? So if you put those 2 factors together, and if you look again this season at Bay Hill when he was playing probably the best golf of his season, going down, I think, a 2-shot lead, 3-shot lead over Russell Henley, and he blew it. Russell Henley, I know, did chip in, but he just seems to wilt under that pressure. And I think when you put him in a situation like New York and the crowd that's going to be there, the hype, everything, I think we saw probably the same a little bit in Rome. I'm not so sure. I know he's a good partnership with obviously his buddy Pat Cantlay. I think Patrick Cantlay is going to be in there because I think Patrick Cantlay's Ryder Cup record is just too good, and I think he's playing well at the right time. I think that's crucial as well. So that's 4 I have. I'm also gonna pick. This is a tough one for me because I would like to see Ben Griffin be in there, but I don't think he's going to get in. I think Cam Young is going to get in ahead of him again. I think Cam Young is one of these guys. He's been relentless. He's a team player. He's a dog. There's a lot of fight in him. He's had so many near misses, and then finally got over the line to win a PGA Tour event for the first time, which was just sensational for him. So many second place finish, a lot like Tommy Fleetwood. So I think momentum there is key. He's going to go to a new level, I think, and I think he's a guy that will fit in perfectly, I think, with what Keegan wants to do with this team. And also, my other pick and my final pick is going to be Patrick Cantlay, as I said. Have I done that right? I think I have. So we have Sam Burns, Keegan Bradley, I think Brooks Koepka, Justin Thomas. I'm going to say Patrick Cantlay and Cam Young. They're my 6. And they're going to be obviously joining the guys we know that are already there. Scotty Scheffler, JJ Spawn, Xander Schauffele, Russell Henley, Harris English and Bryce DeChambeau. That is a phenomenal team in my opinion. I think we're in for an absolute rocket of Ryder Cup. I think it's going to be one of the best Ryder Cups in history, and I do actually fancy the US team ahead of Europe. I think could be a little bit too soon for this European team. I think all of them probably have bar Justin Rose, maybe have a couple of at least one more Ryder Cup in them. But I think going over there to win in such a high, let's be honest, it's going to be a high voltage crowd. It's going to be a mad New York crowd. So that's where I'm at the moment. I am a bit sick, so my voice is going up and down, screeching like a bloody feckin', I don't know. But yeah, no, I'm buzzing for it. I think the picks tomorrow could go different ways. There's so many permutations. A lot tougher pick out this American team than it is the European team. The European team is probably pretty straightforward, as I said, bar Harry Hall. Is the only one I could see possibly sneaking in for possibly Matt Fitzpatrick or Sepp Straka, because Sepp finished the season so poorly. But I don't even really envisage that, to be honest. If I'm deadly honest about it, I think it'll be exactly the same, bar the swap out in the twins. So you'll have Rasmus obviously in, who jumped ahead of Shane Lowry. But I'll talk about that later in the week, because that's not the next Monday. But I am going to do a live tomorrow. I'm going to go live during the picks, 5 p.m. Irish time, so around about then, and we'll just have a bit of crack during the picks and see what's going on and see what Keegan does. I can't wait for it. I'm really buzzing to see what he does tomorrow. I do believe that at least 3 of those picks are set. I do believe the reports that have come out. I do think Keegan's going to play. I do think Sam Burns is in there, and I do believe Brooks Koepka is going to get the nod as well, because I think there's too many permutations add up there there's too much for it to be a coincidence, in my opinion. Loads on the channel. We talked about Sam Burns last night when the news broke. That's up there. There's loads of press conferences for the last couple of weeks. So if you're getting value out of this, really do appreciate it if you want to subscribe, like, share, comment, all that. Do get your comments in. I want to know your picks, and if we go live tomorrow, we'll have a chat. We'll do all that. Get involved with the show. My light went off there as well. Look, how did that go off? There we go. We put it back on. But loads to obviously get through tomorrow. There's going to be a lot to break down, a lot to talk about when we learn Keegan Bradley's picks. And there's a channel, as I said. Do hit me up on Twitter as well. Niall McGrath 4, Instagram, all the same. And as I said, subscribe if you're getting value of the channel. Do appreciate you joining in, stopping by if you did check out the show. Back tomorrow, as I said, we'll do a live about 5 o'clock, a little bit probably before the picks come in. Have a chat, have a bit of banter, and see what Keegan does ahead of the Ryder Cup, which is just in exactly a month today, and I'm going to be in Spain for it. I can't wait. It is from Niall McGrath. Good luck and good night. 4.
All right.